Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy Friday. Hope everyone has had a good week. I'm actually recording this on Wednesday evening because I'm going to be hopefully trying to get ready to go to Florida on Friday. And it's supposed to snow on Friday, so I'll not only be trying to pack everything up to go to Florida, but probably clearing some snow away. So hopefully it doesn't snow too bad. We can fly out Friday evening, get down there. But I want to get this video out to you all, so I'm gonna record it, and then we'll go live on Friday as normal. But yeah, I hope everyone's had a good week. This week's been busy. I'm really anticipating heading down to Florida, enjoying the weather, getting some vacation in. So I'll be a little bit on the quiet side next week. Not so much going on from my side of things, but that's a good thing. We all need to take a break sometime, and next week is my break. So um, today I was chatting with someone. My blog post this week was about the effects of light, both the positive and negative effects that light can have, and different types of light and situations and how they can affect us. So if you haven't checked that out, please head over to my website. You go to rjbhealth.coach, and the newest blog post there will be the one I'm talking about. Um, but someone had commented to me about how it was great information, etc., which I really appreciated. But it's often so overwhelming that all these things that we need to be mindful of about um, our health, and how to things we need to pay attention to, right? And she was right. I mean, there's if you start to think about all the things that can have an impact on our health, it becomes overwhelming. And lots of people just, not only there are a lot of just different areas of health that you have to think about, but and pay attention to, but then there's all kinds of different opinions. Everyone has a different opinion about what is the right way or right thing to do in that area of aspect of health. And some people look at me right now, it's clearly dark outside, and I'm staring at a computer, and I'm under some bright lights. And so just what I talked about with the effects of light, like I can, it's probably not a good thing, right? Probably not a good thing for my sleep. Um, but I got my blue blocking glasses on, so I'm good there, right? But people say, oh, it doesn't really matter, right? And everyone has a different experience and different opinion. That's okay. Um, for myself, I know that in general, if the things that I try to engage in at night, while I do use a computer and a phone, watch TV, etc., I try to keep them there. That's fine. It doesn't negatively affect my sleep too much, but I know that if I do something stressful, or if I'm working on a hard work problem or something like that before bed, that can keep me up. I have more issues with my mind racing due to stress or to something else than necessarily the effects of light not letting me go to sleep. That's me personally. Other people completely different. Um, but back to the point, was she was saying there's so many different things that we have to pay attention to when it comes to our health, and it's overwhelming. And it's a fair enough point, right? Like, people have a hard enough time just mastering one thing, whether it's sleep or exercise or diet or whatever. And then you start layering in on top of that, all these other things like light, and the whether you're the things that you cook your food in, the chemicals you get exposed to that you put on your skin, and all this other stuff. And it's hard to keep straight. And I thought about that for a little while, and the one thing that I always come back to, as far as what's the right answer, or how do I live my life in a way that just all these things don't really matter, and I can just go through life without having to think about it, right? And the one thing I always come back to is just limiting ancestral mismatches. And so I said that to her. I was like, as long as we can limit ancestral mismatches, I think you don't have to necessarily think about each individual thing, right? If you just make sure that we were living in a way that aligns with our ancestral expectations, things just kind of fall in line, right? Um, and she was like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And I basically, to me, it's obvious when I say ancestral mismatches what that means, but obviously, it's not obvious to everyone. So basically, what I just wanted to, make this short little video about explaining what I mean when I say, ancestral mismatches and living in line with what our ancestral expectations are. Is that basically we evolved for thousands of years with certain things, certain expectations, right? We ate certain types of foods. We, were awake when the sun was up and we were asleep when the sun was down. We moved quite a bit. Um, when we came across food, we ate the crap out of that food, and we didn't care how many calories it was, or whether it was carbs, fats, or vegetables, or whatever. All that matters is we needed food to survive. We didn't have a lot of stress. We were it wasn't stress 24/7. We evolved in a tribe with lots of social connection. And so, a lot of the things that we talk about, that I talk about on my blog and that I talk about in these videos and my newsletter, all revolve around trying to minimize these ancestral mismatches in one way or another, whether it's the food that we eat or the time, our light dark cycles, or how we exercise or how we move throughout the day, or the social engagement that we get with other people, or the stress that we put ourselves under or don't put ourselves under. These are all, basically topics around minimizing these ancestral mismatches, to the best of our degree, right? And it doesn't mean skewing modern things, right? Like I'm using these blue blocking glasses so that I can look at my computer and record this video and do this to you without trying, with getting the least amount of blue light into my eyes and hopefully not negatively affecting my sleep as much. So it doesn't mean eschewing modern conveniences and technology. It doesn't mean we shouldn't, take advantage of them where we can, but we should also limit the negative impacts of them on our health. So, it's great that we can get food that we want delivered to our door. Most of that food should be fruits and vegetables, meat, and whole foods, and not McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and a bunch of processed foods. Um, so there's ways to do this, that both minimize our ancestral mismatches while at the same time, um, taking advantage of all the modern conveniences that we have in today's world. So sometimes it also means artificially injecting ancestral norms into our modern world. Like I don't have to get up and walk, but I do, right? And I have to make a conscious decision to do that because otherwise I would just sit down all day in front of a computer. Um, I don't have to do a lot of physical activity, strenuous physical activity. So I go downstairs and I do torturous 2Ks on the rower, or I lift weights or whatever, right? So there's, some conscious oversight that needs to come into play to better correct these ancestral mismatches sometimes. But if you keep in mind living more ancestrally, or living more aligned with what our genes expect, in this modern world, while at the same time taking advantage of all the modern conveniences that we have, um, that basically takes care of all these other things you have to think about. Right? You don't have to think about the light. You don't have to think about the food that you eat. You don't have to think about exercise or movement. Right? You just have to think about what would my ancestors have done just 100 years ago. Right? You don't even have to go back thousands of years. Just 100 years ago. What would they have eaten? What kind of work would they have been doing? How would they have been sleeping? Right? Would they be watching TV? Would they be doing work at 8:30 at night? Talking to someone on the internet, or all these things, right? So just ask yourself, what would this have looked like 100 years ago? And if it looks very different, chances are you probably need to do something to mitigate that mismatch or change it in some way or do something to counteract it, right? Um, so that keeps things from being overwhelming, and it provides a simple frame or a simple lens to look at things through that generally takes care of the answer for you. So I hope that helps everyone. Just a quick little video. Like I said, um, I will be on vacation next week, so I won't be as active. And But if you do want to keep up with all the content that I do put out on a regular basis, you can. The best thing to do is to sign up for my newsletter. Go to rjbhealth.coach, click on the newsletter link at the top, enter your email address, and you can sign up for the newsletter and get everything I put out directly to your inbox without having to stalk me on social media. If you're interested on doing some one-on-one coaching, I do have a few spots open up. I'm having a couple clients graduate, so definitely have some spots open up. We can chat more about that. If you want to do that, please, you can message me directly, any platform, however you want. You can get a hold of me, or you can go to my website, rjbhealth.coach, and right at the top of the homepage, there's a discovery button link. Click that button, fill out the form, and I'll get back to you on. We can set up a time to chat more about whether it would be a good fit to work together. With that, I hope everyone has a good week, and I will talk to you all in a few weeks. Talk to you soon.